Hey y'all, I'm Hope. Welcome back. Today I'm doing the end of the year book tag, which I always enjoy doing every year. I think is a fun way to kind of reflect on where I'm at with my reading in the last couple of months of the year. I think this was originally created by Ariel, Bissett, but I'm not certain of that. I will try to link the original down in the description if I remember to do so. But let's just dive into the questions. And I believe the first question is, do you have any books you're currently reading that you need to finish before the end of the year? I do have a ton of books that I'm currently reading. I think I have 13 books on my currently reading shelf on Goodreads, and that's not everything I've started this year, but let me grab the stack of books that I've started just this year that I'd like to finish. So this is the stack. These are all the ones I started this year. So I've got Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee, Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, Jade War by Fonda Lee, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas, and Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I'm also currently reading an arc of Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell, which I need to finish in the next couple of weeks because that comes out on November 1st. So those are the ones I've started this year. There are some other books I'm currently reading that are from last year. But yeah, those are the ones I kind of want to prioritize finishing too, I think. Sorry, I thought there was a bug on my windowsill. It was not. It was just the blinds. It was just the string from the blinds. Anyway, the second question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? For me, I always think of autumnal books as being kind of horror or mystery thriller. I don't know why that is. That's just kind of what I like to read during this time of year. So I've chosen The Decagon House Murders as one that I'd really like to get to kind of transition into the end of the year. This is a translated mystery from Japanese, I believe, and it's about a group of students who are in some sort of club and they go to this house, and then it's kind of a and then there were none situation. So I think it sounds like a lot of fun, and I've been wanting to read it for a few months now, so I think this would be a great one to kind of transition into November, because now it's mid to late October by the time you're seeing this. Third question is there a new release you're still waiting for? And I actually have several. I think the one that's coming out the soonest is Into the Riverlands by Nevo, which is the third book in the Singing Hills cycle. I'm really excited about this. I really loved the first two books in that series. And then there's A Restless Truth and Ocean's Echo, which both come out on the same day, on November 1st. As I said, I'm reading an arc of Ocean's Echo, which is the second book by Everina Maxwell. It's set in the same universe as her debut, Winter's Orbit, but it's following some different characters on a different planet. And then A Restless Truth is the sequel to A Marvelous Light, which is one of my favorite books I've read so far this year. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to read about Maud getting a girlfriend and solving mysteries on a ship. That just sounds like fun. So I'm really excited for those. And then the last one that I'm waiting on is The Red Scholar's Wake by Aliette de Bedard, which is a political space pirate story with a sapphic romance, which I think sounds like a lot of fun, so I'm excited for that as well. Question number 4 is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So let me grab those. First up, I've got She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. I've been meaning to read this for ages now. I believe this was a Goodreads Choice nominee from last year, so I originally intended to read it as a part of my project reading all of last year's sci-fi and fantasy nominees, but obviously that didn't happen, and that project has kind of been backburnered because it's unlikely at this point that I'm going to finish the last 20 books I need to read for it before we get this year's nominees. But I do really want to read this one because a friend of mine read and loved this one, and I know she's been wanting to talk about it, so I'd like to go ahead and get to this one. And then I've got A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. Similar situation, same friend read it already. She actually didn't like this one, but I'm curious to see how my thoughts are similar or different from hers, so I'd like to go ahead and get to this. This one is, I believe, political fantasy with a romance. It's not a subplot, it's the main plot, I think. So it's political fantasy romance. And then the last one I have here is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, about a horror movie lover who begins to experience horror movie events in her small town. And I want to read this one because there is a sequel coming out at the beginning of next year that I would like to be able to read, because I've loved everything I've read from Stephen Graham Jones so far. So I fully expect that I'll love this one as well. Question number 5 is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I think pretty much any of the books that I have just mentioned could easily become a favorite of the year. I think if I had to pick a few that were most likely to do that, I think that selection would be kind of these 4. I really loved Jade City, so I anticipate that I'll really like Jade War as well. The Hacienda is a really fun, spooky, gothic haunted house story, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So again, I think I could really love this one. And then She Who Became the Sun, my friend loved it. We often have similar opinions on books, so could really enjoy this one. And My Heart is a Chainsaw, because I usually love everything I read from Stephen Graham Jones, so that seems pretty likely. Question 6 is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? The answer to which is no, not really. I don't tend to plan my reading too far in advance because I am often a mood reader, so if I try to plan like a set thing I'm gonna read, unless it's for a specific project that I'm excited about, I'm kind of unlikely to actually read those books. So I haven't done any like specific plans. That being said, I do have some arcs I think I'll be reading at the beginning of the year, because those come out in January and February of next year. So I've got an arc of The Hunter by Jennifer Herrera, which is a like small town murder mystery about a New York City cop returning to her hometown after having lost her job, and then kind of encountering this mystery there that she's trying to solve. Then I have The Things We Do to Our Friends by Heather Darwent, which is a dark academia thriller, I believe. And then the last one I have is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, which is her next horror release about a woman returning to her family home after her grandmother has died and finding out that something is very wrong with her mother. I think these all sound like they're going to be a lot of fun, and I will be reading those kind of at the end of this year, maybe beginning of next year. But that's the only kind of like reading plans I've set out. So those are all the questions, and I think this is going to end up being a really short video, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.